Hi there, I'm immigration lawyer Hillary Walsh. I'm owner and operator of New Frontier Immigration Law. And today I'm coming to answer a few questions that a lot of my clients have if they're a U.S. citizen and they're married to someone who doesn't have proper immigration status in the United States, or perhaps their spouse is outside the United States and wants to come to the United States. This video is specifically talking to people who you're married to a U.S. citizen and your spouse is already in the United States, and your question is, how do I get them proper immigration documents? And I'm going to tell you how today in plain English, hopefully in a way that is very valuable to you, and you can give us a call. So if you're ready to move forward and make that next step, you know who to call, okay? I'm going to do this because I'm a very visual learner. I'm going to do this with what I hope will be kind of a handy way of explaining this. Okay, so your spouse, when he or she came to the United States, he or she either came here, they don't have status now, so they came here either with permission or without permission. Okay, so let's go with the situation where they came in with permission to begin with. This is typically a visa overstay. Okay, they got a tourist visa. Maybe it's when they were a little kid. Shout out to you, Santi, I'm talking to you. Okay, so they were a kid and they were brought here by their parents and then they never left. Okay, that's considered an overstay. Someone who is an adult and comes in on a student visa and they never leave, they're considered an overstay. The important distinction here is that they came in with permission to begin with. So by marrying a U.S. citizen, they're allowed to stay here in the United States because they're on this side of the column. They're allowed to stay in the United States for the entire time that their green card is pending and actually get their green card. Through most of the process, you're also going to have work authorization, okay? So about 8 months after we file for your green card, you'll get your work authorization in the mail, okay? So this is one side. If you're a visa overstay or employment overstay, visa waiver overstay, although God help me, please don't do one of those because those are super stressful if we get put into removal proceedings, okay? You get to stay on the side of the column and you don't have to go back to your home country in order to complete the process and to get your green card, okay? By contrast, if you are married to a U.S. citizen and you came to the United States without permission to begin with, now whether this is when you were a little kid and your parents brought you in, okay, whether this is last week you came and you crossed the border without going through an entry point, if this was 25 years ago and you're a proud grandpa to lots of U.S. citizen little grandbabies, okay, if you didn't come in with permission to begin with, the next thing we need to do, because you're married to a U.S. citizen, is we need to get you a hardship waiver so that you're allowed to leave the country and go back to your home country where you're currently a citizen and go to the U.S. embassy there and apply for your green card. And then after you're approved, assuming everything goes correctly, after you're approved, you get to re-enter with permission, okay? So you're very rarely do the streams cross, okay? They're very rare instances. Those would be if you are military parole in place. Sometimes we can work with you if one of your children or your spouse is in the military and they petition for you and we can do military parole in place. That's one option for you to be able to kind of cross streams. There are others, and I think that, they're so unique that it's really important to talk to a lawyer about. But this, I hope, helps clarify a little bit about what it means and why it happens, okay? What it means when we say to adjust your status. That means you're going to do the whole green card petition right here in the United States because at one point you had status to begin with. Okay, that status was, I have status because I'm a tourist, or I have status because I'm here on a employment or a student visa. Okay, one of those types of things meant you had status, so you're just tweaking your status now. Now you're no longer a tourist, now you're a lawful permanent resident once you have that green card, okay? By contrast, you need to consular process. You have to go through the process, okay, of going through it with your consulate in your home country. And that's because you entered without permission to begin with. But don't feel like that's anything to be ashamed of or anything to be frustrated about, or that it's not something that can't be completely fixed. We do this every single day in my firm. My firm is in downtown Phoenix, and we help people all over the world, okay? So whether you are just needing the consular process and go to Ciudad Juarez, that's totally fine, and we can help you with that. A lot of our clients go through that process, so we can make this happen for you. The most important thing I would say is that you understand what your options are, but that it's not really about learning. Learning can only get you so far. Having the knowledge is very, very valuable, but the most important thing you can do as a US citizen who's married to someone who doesn't have status is to help them move forward in their life, is to help them take the next step. It's to help them be the person that God created them to be. And it wasn't to be someone who was labeled as an illegal, which is not even a thing, okay? But it is guilt and shame that our society and our administration is putting on people who've never walked in your spouse's shoes, who've never walked in your shoes. Call my firm so we can get this figured out, so your spouse and your children and your children's children can get this monkey off their back. They can move on with their lawful permanent residency, and here in a few years, be voting in the next election cycle. Thank you. Call my firm, New Frontier Immigration Law. I'm immigration lawyer Hillary Walsh, and I can't wait to help you go to your next new frontier.